It's been a while since we've met. So this makes me really happy. I'm just going to say a few things about how I hope today will go. We can see what happens, but the plan here is to do some kind of embodiment practice. We'll do that in a minute and get grounded, get centered, get regulated here together. And then we'll move into consultations as we normally do. And there'll be space for everybody to share, to get reflection. And the invitation here is, even though we're recording and the others may see this who are thinking about signing up for body of work, to allow yourself to be as vulnerable as possible, but also to be caring about yourself as much as possible. So maybe you don't share in a way that you have before. Maybe today is a different kind of day. Notice where your edges are and know that just being here is more than enough. Your presence is more than enough. The link was sent to folks who are interested in checking out body of work. The invitation was for them to show up on time, but if for some reason somebody shows up who just pops in or leaves, we'll do our best to welcome them, to know that folks who haven't been in embodied coaching experience or body of work before will be just simply observing, maybe interacting in the chat. And then at the end, there'll be space for questions. And I'm happy to answer the questions, but if y'all want to chime in too to answer questions, you're welcome to do that as well. And this is an experiment. I've been told to do this forever. And every time I've been 100% no. Like, this is a sacred space. This is a space where we have agreements and a container and where we know how we do things here. And the reality is, this is maybe my rigid views of things don't always have to be how I think they should be. So this is an experiment just to see how this goes, having folks come in, observe, witness us, be here with us. And my highest intention is that it feels supportive and nourishing for everyone all around, including your clients, including your businesses, and whatever we navigate today. And so we'll do it together. We'll collaborate together every step of the way. If anything comes up, or anyone who's coming to observe who hasn't been part of body of work before chimes in or has a question, y'all are welcome to also respond. We're in this together. So let's start with a practice, actually. But before I do that, just wanted to open it up. Do you have any questions, comments? Do you just want to share what's present for you as we're beginning together? You're welcome to do that in the chat or out loud. And welcoming you, Lena. So happy you're here. Tamsin feels a bit nervous. Welcoming nervous. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I have to tell myself that too. We can always delete the whole thing at the end if we just hate it, if it's horrible or if it's too edgy. Yay. Anybody else? All right. So we'll do a practice for about 10 minutes. And oh, Emma, you got a haircut. Beautiful. Just wanted to say, you turned your head. I just noticed. Anyways, for the practice, you can be sitting, you can be standing, you can be lying down. Really check in with yourself and see what would be most helpful today. It'll be a bit of a grounding and centering practice. And we'll take a few breaths as we move into whichever posture feels most nourishing today. Yeah, and as always, you're welcome to have the camera on or off. And I'm just right here with you. And now that you're getting situated in your posture, let's begin this practice by taking some really full inhales, and then we'll sigh on the exhale. And let that sigh come from the bottom of your feet if you can, all the way up your whole body. So breathing in. And letting the sigh fall out like a waterfall. And letting anything that's not serving you today just melt away as much as possible. Uh, Notice anything that feels good about that. You can keep sighing if that feels supportive, or you can just allow your breath to come into a natural rhythm. And whether you're sitting, lying down, or standing, you might just bring a little stretch into your body. Is there anything that wants to stretch out, to move, to take a new shape? It might be really subtle and it might be really big. And really listening to the impulses of your body. There's a way we can move and stretch that's like, oh, I think I should do that, versus, oh, this internal impulse to move in a certain way. And we don't have to know, we can just play with it. And then we'll slowly find a bit of stillness. And that doesn't mean you have to be frozen in the practice. You can always move. And take a moment to feel all the places where your body connects to the support beneath you. And for the next 3 breaths, on each exhale, you might see if it's possible to sink into that support even more fully. And then we can bring our awareness to the breath, and we can do this with eyes open or closed, whatever feels most connected today. And take a moment and just notice where you feel your breath the most in your body today, in this moment, where it feels most easy to access. The breath is the anchor for many of us, an anchor to the present moment. So as we connect with the breath for the next few minutes here, see if you can allow yourself to be nourished by it as fully as possible. And when the mind wanders, it wanders, letting whatever's rattling around in there rattle around. And come back again and again to the felt sense of the breath. Breathing in. I know that I'm breathing in. And breathing out. I know that I'm breathing out. Feeling the waves of each inhale and exhale. As much as you're able to access it in your body, maybe it's at the tip of the nostrils, the back of the throat, the chest or the belly, or maybe it's the whole body, expanding and contracting with each cycle, each wave. And with each breath, we can welcome what's here. We can welcome every part of us, every thought, every sensation, emotion, feeling. And for this last minute here, we'll just be here together in silence. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to be. Staying connected to anything in your body, heart, mind, or environment that feels supported from this practice. And then take your time as you bring that support right back here into the room, into the day, and into this new, fresh moment. And we'll come back together on the call. Feeling free as we arrive to share in the chat or even out loud what became present for you as we practice together. Yeah, Roshni.
So I noticed my mind was very distracted, but I still managed to connect with my my feet to the ground, and I felt this spiraling energy in my right foot as it connected to the ground, which was really nice. And final thing I noticed was when you said no, nothing to do, nowhere to go, just being, I just realized the power of being in that moment.
Beautiful. Spiraling of your foot. That sounds like a very cool sensation to be tracking too. Thanks, Roshni. Tamsin shared in the chat, noticed how distracted I was at the start, but landed when you said, I know I'm breathing in, and settled a little after that. Yeah. Welcoming all of it, welcoming the distraction, being settled, all of it. Anybody else? Hey, let's move into consultations. My brain just did a blip because I'm like, well, usually in our structure, we do some kind of community connection where you meet in dyads or triads and explore something from the present moment. We're not going to do that today because we have a shortened call and I want to give you lots of time for diving into what's present in your work with your clients, business, yourselves, all of it. And everybody doesn't have to go today, but there is space for everyone to go. And we'll do a similar structure as we have many times. However, each person will get 10 minutes. I'll set the timer. I'll set the timer for 8 minutes, and then you'll know there's a couple of minutes just to come to a close. In that time, you can take up the whole time and just be witnessed. You can modulate your time so you can share some, and then I'm happy to come in and support and reflect and live coach you, for the lack of a better term. And then you're all also welcome to offer reflections, support, comments to each other in the comments. If you want reflections from others besides me, you're going to have to say that. We're going to do that from here on forward in Body of Work so that people don't feel pressure to respond to every single person. I know that as I'm learning, as the program keeps growing, that We've got some perfectionist type folks in here. I couldn't imagine why. We draw the people to us that are much like us, right? And so I'm learning how to take the pressure off as much as possible. So everyone just gets to be. And so we're always working that out together. If you request that you love to have reflections from others in the group, people might not have anything to offer. That's okay too. We have to be willing to know that. However, if you're just dying to say something, you're also welcome to put in the chat, I'd love to offer a reflection here. And then we'll check in, make sure that that works, and go from there. So this is such a massive collaboration. That's what I love about working with y'all, is that it's easy to do that. In terms of the consults, I just want to remind everybody to start, if you can, with what you're noticing in your body as you're sharing, with what's happening in your body, your heart, your mind, what feels present as you're offering, whatever you're offering. And then at the end, if you can remember again, I might remind you to share again what you notice in your body. And if you have a request, did you want to be witnessed? Do you want advice? Do you want a reflection? Do you want to be supported and held in a journey through this? However your words land, or you know what I mean. So I'm going to set my timer as you decide who would love to go first. Okay. Who would love to go first? Roshni. And then I'll also just say the invitation for folks who are receiving the speaker, like as much attention as possible on yourself, on your breath, your regulation, your support, anchored in the present moment, and just letting the person's experience and words come to you. No need to lean into it. No need to track everything. You here and now in this moment as you're receiving, who's sharing. Roshni.
So I'm feeling, my heart was starting to beat a little bit faster, feeling a little bit warm, and feeling my feet on the ground and my seat in the chair. So nice to be here with all of you. And my query is around how do we deal with objections? I say this because I don't really like that word, in a sales conversation in a trauma-informed way. So just to give a brief background, I used to be of the opinion that if somebody, at the end of a sales conversation or discovery call, if you say, and here's the price, here's the investment, and someone goes, I can't afford that, I used to think I should just be like, okay, that's totally fine, I respect that. If you ever feel the need to work with me again, please reach out, you know where I am. And then recently I've heard some business coaches say, actually, that person might need my help if they are like, oh, I can't afford it, but I'm desiring some support around maybe, believing that I am worth investing in myself, and that's a powerful thing to do, that kind of thing. So, and I know that, I don't ever want somebody to buy from me to take care of me or feel pressured to buy from me in any way. And at the same time, I don't want to abandon them when it might be that they're like, oh, I can't afford it, but secretly I want you to help me and be there for me in what's coming up for me right now. So I'm curious, what would be the trauma-informed way to help them? Of course, I understand I could maybe ask for permission and say, would you like some support with that? If they say, oh, I can't afford it. And if they say yes, then how would I even do this? Because that would mean coaching. And should I really be coaching them at this point on a discovery call? I'm
Mm,
curious to hear your reflections and thoughts.
yeah. How does it feel even just to share that? What do you notice happening inside?
Heart beating a bit fast, but I feel also like my shoulders drop a little bit. It feels like a relief because it is a little bit of a vulnerable thing to ask. Yeah, because as a trauma-informed coach, that's why I don't like the word objections, because I'm not here to overcome objections, like steamroll over them and somehow make people to buy. That's the make people buy, and that's the whole vibe I get from the word objection. So, but I feel relieved to have shared it.
Mhm. One of the things I love about hearing your shares and your asks is often you answer your own question when you're sharing. And like I noticed in my own body, like just a steady, solid, I kind of felt like a tree trunk listening to you, just like knowing that like what you keep saying, some version of I want people to feel supported and I want people to feel safe. And that is so admirable. And hearing you say, you just workshopped it a little, like, oh, I might just ask them permission, ask consent. Would you like support around that? That to me, I just felt like something opened up. And I was curious what happened for you when you said that.
I feel like it definitely, I feel solid saying that, because it definitely feels like I'd be in integrity because I'd be asking that permission. But then I also feel a kind of question around, but then how do I support them? Because is that going to turn into a coaching session? And are they going to be coached when this is actually a discovery call? And is it appropriate to do that? And if so, what if it goes into an extensive coaching? So that's
Mhm.
a bit of a question as well.
Well, I will always come back to, I don't know if there's any right way to do it. And the most important thing is that it feels really good to you. Yeah. And so I would say coaching someone on a discovery call is one of the biggest gifts we could give them, because we're actually giving them something, not charging them for it, helping them get more in touch with what they want to get in touch with, and offering support around that. And that it could be a really lovely way to show them how we do what we do and be in connection with them as we're coaching. And so I don't think there needs to be any difference between the sales part of the conversation and the rest of the conversation. I think we can help create a safe enough space all the way through so that they really feel like they're getting a lot every step of the way. And we're showing them how we are with what comes up. And so often for people, things come up around the money. And that's such a great time to ground down into ourselves and to remember, oh, I can even give them something here. I don't care if it's a yes or a no. I'm not invested in getting them to a yes or a no. What I am invested in is that they feel really held, really heard, really seen, and really supported, and that they walk away with that. And I heard you say, I don't want to abandon them when they might actually want support here. And so I think transparency is an incredible tool to just say, I would love to be here with you in this conversation. If you want to just talk about that more, tell me more about, you wanting this support, but not having the money. What else is going on there? And just continuing to lean in every step of the way, asking curious questions, reflecting back what you're hearing, and how to be with each moment as it unfolds, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to take a breath with that. Yeah, that feels really good to hear that it doesn't have to be like sales one thing, like it doesn't have to be so disjointed. And actually, I love, love, love what you said around transparency and saying, I really want, if you want support, then I'm here. That way it's not awkward, me trying to work out what they need, and me going, I don't want to abandon you, but so I really like the transparency. And yeah, and then I suppose, yeah, I can be with them, and I guess maybe I don't need to use a tool as such, but I feel like the being with is the most powerful thing. And then the somatic reflection. I'm curious how, because I've not done the, like, this, when the objection part came, I kind of used to like, okay, that's fine. And I never asked you, would you like my support with that? So I'm so curious what will unfold from this. I feel like it will be really powerful for me to experience that.
Curiosity is such deep medicine. And so just being curious now tells me you might be able to bring that somatic experience of curiosity into that moment instead of what I imagine was more like something more rigid. Is that true?
Yes, I think the rigidity came from, oh, I don't want this person to think I'm taking advantage of them and coaching them just so that they can buy from me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not the case and I wouldn't do that, but I wouldn't want them to think that. And maybe I should even be transparent about that and say, this is not so that you buy from me. I don't have like a secret agenda. But I just want to support you in feeling more empowered, whether it's a yes, a no, or a maybe. I just want to help you listen to your own inner wisdom. If you would like support with that, then I'm here. Oh, that feels nice.
How do you know it feels nice? What tells you that?
Because I'm being truthful and I'm asking their permission, and I'm letting them know that I'm not here with a secret agenda to pretend I'm helping them and then coaching them with the secret agenda that I want them to buy from me. And it makes me feel so relieved and good that I'm telling them the truth, which is that I don't have a secret agenda, and I just want to support you in this session if you would like my support, regardless of what your answer is, and if you want to work with me or not. And that feels really nice, because it's so nice to, like, it's, as you said, it's a free call, and if I can help support someone in that way, even in a free call, helping them see their power, then that's an amazing thing.
What a gift.
Yeah. I really like that. I feel like something opened up.
Yeah. And then one thing that you will probably have happen is you don't even need to say that at some point. You will just be that. People will feel that you are not here with an agenda or pressure or a gimmick, that you genuinely want to be of support in that way. So you can say some of those things, absolutely, as you're getting it in your system. And then at some point, you just know, and then they can feel that.
Yeah, I love that. I think these sales conversations have just gone such a bad rap that I'm like, please believe me, I'm not like the the ones who have an agenda and all this. But like, yeah, I love that they'll be able to feel that I'll be able to be it after a while. I feel like I'm finding my way into right alignment with sales conversations and the objections part. I don't know how else to say the objections part. I want a nicer word for it, but I don't have one right now. But you know what I mean? The trauma-informed part, where if they want my support, I support them.
Yes. Thank you so much, Roshni. Could we just
Thank you, Shelby.
let's take a few breaths with you, and just supporting this vision. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Who would love to go next? Hamzin. And just a reminder for us all that we have bodies here. as we're listening. And so do what is supportive for you to allow yourself to be as present as possible. You can move, you can be still, you can have your camera on, you can have it off. You can just take care. Tamsin, I started your timer and then I started talking. Hi.
Hi. I am feeling more relaxed as the call's going on and yawning quite a lot. I feel quite a lot going on in my belly, like not really strong, but just this, some of this. So I wanted to ask about this client that I have that's like relatively challenging, and I'm curious about when I don't feel like I'm out of my depth, but there have been points where I've been like, I wonder whether this person just really needs a trauma therapist, because a lot of what comes up in her business is relational with other women, and we've done a lot of work around that. It's kind of like every week something comes up, a relational dynamic that she gets very triggered, basically, and I believe, I don't know, but I think a lot of it is connected back to, I think she was maybe like a preteen, early teen, and was kind of went from being very popular and shiny and vivacious and confident to being really badly bullied. Mm-hmm. And it's just really seems to have really stuck with her. And there've been a lot of consequences in her health, like lots of kind of drinking as a way to feel more confident. And it's so interesting at the moment, she's currently like dabbling with sobriety, and really a lot of the work that she wants to do with me, interestingly, is she just really wants to have her self-care locked in and, be on the yoga mat and journaling and getting to bed and eating well and the basics, really, because her business is amazing. So I think my inquiry is, how do you know when it's time to refer out? And also, how do you do that in a way that isn't like, you've got a lot of trauma and I can't handle you? Because it's not true. But that's my fear, that maybe not with this client, but with others. I'm just always curious about where the line is.
Mm-hmm. What are you noticing as you're sharing? What's happening inside?
I feel pretty steady. I feel pretty, I feel really lethargic, but I don't know whether that's necessarily connected to this client. I'm actually surprised that I feel a bit sludgy, actually, and I don't know whether that's because I'm quite surprised that I don't feel more anxious or like full of dread. It feels more sludgy, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I noticed as you were sharing, when you talked about your client being bullied, I felt just such grief hearing that. And then I started feeling the sludgy too, almost like you're a little foggy in front of me. And, almost like I'm on like a ship.
Yeah.
Kind of heavy. It makes me really curious.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised, because she tends to be extremely anxious. And there's yeah, like I say, when she's like triggered, which is, you know, pretty frequent, it's like super frenetic. So yeah, I don't see her feeling sludgy about it, but it makes sense that she would. And of course, there's lots of grief there. And I guess we touch it, you know, it comes up so frequently and we touch it, but you know, when we kind of slow down and go into the body, it's for seconds. She wants to come out. And yeah, just sometimes I just feel like, gosh, there's a lot here. A lot.
Oh, yeah, I can feel that in my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing that you're wondering, like, how do we also refer out and in a way that's non-shaming so that they can genuinely have the support they need in addition to you? And what sense all of that makes to me first is it sounds like there's activation. She might not feel the lethargic fog, but when you talk about her, it makes me wonder how much of a load she is managing in terms of activation in her nervous system, because
So much.
when you have this much anxiety, that's a show. There's something going on, right? That's hard to touch. And you're telling me, oh, just barely touching. And that's like almost too much. And so that tells me slow and a lot of support, because something in there is in the nervous system is feeling really threatened, and it just needs a lot of resource and a little bit and a little bit at a time, and as much support as possible. It almost brings tears to my eyes hearing how much activation could be there, right? And we're just making assumptions based on this little bit of information.
Yeah.
And so what I might say is, first of all, we don't want to tiptoe around the idea of therapy, because that's like, therapy is great. It's not a problem to have tons of support. Trauma is something we all have at this point. And so the more we're like, oh, I think that you're really bad and you must need support, it's like, oh, that is shaming. Obviously, we wouldn't do that. But it's like, I want you to have the widest circle of support as humanly possible. You deserve it. You have been through so much. Here's my scope of practice. This is what I can offer here. And I would love for you to have an even bigger circle of support, because you deserve such a deep level of care. And while I would love to do this and this, I think it's better to have a big team to really tend to what you're navigating here, because I can see your genius. I can see what you want to offer. I can see how much you're just wanting to bring, and that will take as much support as we can get you. Let's get it.
Yeah.
What do you think about something like that?
Yeah, that sounds good. I have all sorts of stories that come up about me and her, and like money and all sorts of different things that are coming up. But it's like, like, of course, she deserves to have all the care around her. And it's been so interesting the way that she's invested in support. She has me and another, like a mastermind kind of coach thing as well, which is, I think, is more like shamanic or something. But she like kind of, it's not like a considered kind of slow decision. It's like a sort of like kind of rushes in kind of feeling. So she knows she needs it, but actually it's really confusing to know exactly what kind of support you need. It's really confusing.
Also, it's okay to piss off our clients and hurt their feelings. And sometimes it's in those repairs that they can feel really loved. And when you really care about someone and you just are like, oh, trauma therapy, I really think that this would help you. it's likely they are going to feel shame and embarrassment and hate you for a few minutes and want to run because they're feeling really seen. But if you are able to stay with them and let them have their feelings and be with them through all of that, it's that makes us more high integrity. We're willing to be sitting there in those hard conversations, actually helping them get what they really, really need. And not everybody's willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds quite hard to do. But maybe I can listen back to what you said. The way you said it sounded really good.
Yeah. After doing it a few times, it'll be less hard.
Yeah. So, like, something about how I care about her and want her to have all of the support that she desires. And yeah, why don't we all get to have an amazing support team around us when we're building this incredible business? Really is incredible. And she's at the helm. And I can do that.
Yeah. And I think the crux for most of us is if we refer out, that means we're saying that we're not good at what we do, right? Somehow we're saying, I'm not enough. I can't help you in the way I thought I could. And we just need to know that's not true. There is no way one provider can support everything, right? So we stay in our genius with our scope of practice, with what we can offer. And then we're even more of a genius by being like, and let's bring in this added support, right? That is care there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. How is it all feeling now? What are you noticing in your body?
I feel like the sludginess is gone, which is nice. I just suddenly feel lighter. There's a bit more space. And I also just have some, like, when you say zone of genius and scope of practice, like, that is a sticky area for me. And I feel like that needs some more looking at the moment, because that can be hard. But on this issue, I feel like, okay, I understand. So yeah, it feels lighter.
Yeah, I feel lighter too. Can we take a few breaths with that together?
Yeah.
Let's all take a few breaths with Tamsin. And I've said this on other calls, but just want to say again that when I'm taking these breaths at the end of the share, for me, what feels good is I'm always just picturing you, Tamsin, and whoever else shares, like having what you want in the experience of what you're reaching for, and wishing that for you. Let's all put our feet on the ground. And just take a few breaths again, feeling back into that breath that we breathed in the beginning, the presence. Melting on each exhale into the support beneath. And just noticing a resource you have available to you in this moment, something that feels comforting, soothing. Could be in your environment, could be the sound of my voice, could be somebody you're looking at on the call, it could be in your body. And then the space is now open for who would love to go next. And if you're somebody who is shy about jumping in or raising your hand and you want to go, shoot me a private message and I will make it happen. I'm seeing a smile over there at that comment. Violet, yes.
I'm noticing a nervousness and an excitement and yeah. And a sensation in my belly as well. I'm not sure what I need, maybe advice or coaching. I don't know. But right now I'm torn between burning everything down and transitioning. Transitioning since last year from accounting to therapy, and I got to a sweet spot in September where everything felt good. And then in October, I went back into employment after 8 years. And somehow I have more accounting work and I also have some therapy work. So I'm feeling like literally overwhelmed. And that's between I need the money, but some things don't feel good anymore. So I'm sitting with that.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah. And I'm also noticing that I cannot build my therapy business because I'm overwhelmed with everything else. Yeah, it just seems a lot at the minute.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what I need advice or because I've got like what the big picture looks like. I think my ideal would be, I don't mind doing my new job for maybe a couple of years while I build my therapy practice and maybe a couple of accounting clients that I like. That's my ideal. But when I just feel like there's so much noise, I'm like, can I just run away and burn everything down?
Yes. Oh, Violet, I'm just smiling listening to you. I know that it's painful. And I'm smiling because I know that you're not alone. Has anybody else ever ever felt like just burning it down, pivoting, doing something different, trying to figure out how to make the money faster? So just take a look around.
Thank
Oh, we got
you.
some double hands up.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's it like to just see that you're not alone?
It feels really good because it's been a very lonely place.
It is lonely. Oh, I feel tears too. And I'm hearing that you're overwhelmed and tired, and you have been doing so much, and you just transitioned careers and really, really want some clarity around what to do because there's so many choices. Is that right?
So many balls in the air.
So many balls. Yeah. And you want to run. When I hear you say, I want to run, I get really curious. Yeah. Is it okay just to hang out together with that feeling of wanting to run? Does that feel too vulnerable right now?
It's fine.
Yeah. Could we just take a few breaths and just notice the part of the body that's wanting to run? And let's just see if we can let it be here. And we're all right here with you. Yeah. And then we're going to do something probably surprising. Is there a part of you that's okay with not running? Is there a different part that's here? Or maybe just a resource?
I think my little girl just wants to have fun. There's not so much the adult part of life, but more like, can I make space to have fun?
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's what the running away feels like. Like, can we just go away from all this adult stuff?
Wow. So what is it like to know you have this brilliant part of you that wants to run, that wants fun for you?
It actually feels good because adulting is part of life, and also having fun is important. It doesn't mean just because I'm adulting, I stop having fun. So it's important to actually make in my schedule include that as a non-negotiable, maybe.
Ooh, what might that look like and feel like if you had that in your schedule as a non-negotiable?
Just time to do nothing or be me or do the things that I love and just close my computer, close the world, even if it's just for a few hours, and then come back because it will always be there. And it's because even if I can say I'm overwhelmed with everything else, but even if I took everything else away and not make space for this little girl, it will be the same. So I think the issue is not everything else because that's adulting. It's more, how can I find space and time for me?
Yeah. I have tears again hearing about this little girl having space for her to play. That's really intentional, where you shut out the world. And it sounds like through having that, that might actually create possibility for something else. Is that right?
Yeah. Because I'm very clear about what I need to navigate, and that's okay. However, it's also important to nourish this little girl because otherwise all this just feels too much.
I agree. What support do you have inside and out to carve out a few minutes, maybe a few times a week at least, for this vision?
It's being intentional because I pretty much intentional and also managing my boundaries as well. And being firm with my boundaries.
Yeah. Could we just take a few breaths and feel what that could feel like, having those boundaries and support and play? And just notice in your body if you can let it be right here and right now. Yeah. How's that all feeling now, Violet?
Really good. I just saw myself sitting in a cafe with a book. That's a vision that came. Yeah, it feels good. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you need any accountability, anything like that, just send me an email. I will write to you next week and remind you, because
Thank you.
I want that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does that feel complete for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's all take a few full breaths with Violet. Okay. Thank you, Violet. We have 2 more, and I'm aware that my math skills are very bad today. If you have the ability to stay, if either Emma or Sophia, if one of you are like, I have to go, I need my consult now, let me know. But I will stay. I was calculating based on how long we usually meet, which is 1 hour and 45. My apologies, I totally screwed that up. But if you can stay, I would love it. And then after our next 2 consults, we'll do just a short closing practice. And since nobody's here to ask questions, we don't need to do questions. Who would love to go next? Sophia.
Hi, everyone. I definitely feel my chest fluttering a little bit, and it's funny to notice that with these calls, and just that, like, going to speak and share. Yeah, and I feel this like steadiness in my legs connected to the ground I'm sitting on. My share feels short, like, and a bit connected to what Violet is sharing too, in the sense of like just feeling overwhelmed. And I think part of it is, I've spoken with you about this before, Shelby, but the Enneagram 7 in me too. And I've just started a new program in grad school. So I'm like suddenly putting on this whole other dimension of learning on top of my practice. And it's part-time, but it actually feels like so demanding. And I just feel a lot of like competing priorities, as well as this sense, like just like a deep sense of like my values even being like re-examined and pulled apart. And and it feels like there's all these exciting things, there's all these hard things. I don't know how to keep prioritizing like my practice at the same time. I don't feel like, I think I feel frustrated by the overwhelm. I don't feel like collapsed by the overwhelm. I feel like frustrated because there's like all these things I want to do. And then I think I just like bubble up with all this excitement and energy wanting to go in all these directions. And then just not very much happens is where I'm at right now. So that's what I want to share right now. And I think I'm just open to any kind of support or advice or curiosity or exploration there.
Yeah. How's the flutteriness feeling now?
It like moved to my face. Yeah, I think it's really hard to land ultimately, like in me, like even with the meditation, like anything that's going slow right now is hard.
Yeah.
And I know that's a good thing for me. And I guess I don't feel as intentional
Mm.
as I want to feel.
When you have this, like you're not able to kind of really land, it feels hard, and you say, I know it's good for me. Which part is good for you? Say more about that.
Yeah, I feel a little more like landed, just saying, like, I know it feels like when things can go a little slower, maybe it's more manageable and I'm more regulated.
I see. So
Yeah.
if you could go a little slower and land, then things are more manageable and regulated. Is that right?
Yes. And that feels like the opposite of like the other part of me that wants to like just dive in, that feels so immersed, that wants to do all the things and more. That's like, yeah. And I think, I don't know, I think it's not like an achiever thing. It's like this genuine, like, I want to do all these things. I want to know all these people. I want to explore in all these ways, but I can see myself wanting to do all the things and then not doing the things I need to do very well.
So there's a little bit of there's a bind. It's like this part just wants to experience everything, wants to do it all, wants to put it all out there. And there's another part that when this is happening, it can't actually land and ground and be intentional enough to do those things in a way that you can keep with them or do them in the way you want. Is that right? Yeah. I was seeing, as you were talking, I was seeing this like regulation bubble. Like if regulation could get big enough to hold both, like what could be possible for you if you could be exploring all the possibilities and be able to land and settle? Do you have a sense?
I really like that kind of imagery of like having a regulation bubble that's big enough. I guess it's like hard to figure out what that like what are the core things I need right now and can do to like create that regulation bubble.
Mhm. Yeah. My curiosity was when you were kind of pointing down here, the story I was telling myself was there was something happening there that made it really hard to land. It almost looked like you were pulling your body away from it. And I was just like, I wonder what's right here. What is this? It made me really curious.
Mm.
And maybe I'm totally off there.
Yeah. I do wonder if there's just yeah, I think it's like the like probably feelings too that it's like I'm also unsure how to like tend to those and how to like grief or different things that I'm also have experienced in my personal life and I'm moving through, but just feeling like it's like in some ways like I don't have a centering practice because it's just like a little hard to touch into those.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense that you wouldn't have a centering practice if that feels hard right now. Like that's a good way to not have to go there. I was feeling tears hearing you talk about the grief and the feelings. And like it makes all the sense in the world that this would be happening if this feels really hard. Knowing that, is there anything even just a little thing, like one resourcing practice or one friend or something, being in nature that would allow just a tiny bit of space to let you be with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just making sure I'm going out into nature, like, and being intentional about it. Because I do kind of go every day, but I'm just like running in my mind or like trying to multitask.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to put my agenda on you to like feel the feelings. But what I'm thinking is it sounds like the solution to what's stretching you, right? It's like, just how can we help you feel safe enough to make space for this so that that whole bubble can come back into your existence.
Thank you, Shelby.
Yeah, I don't know if that was too esoteric, but
I know there's something there for me to work with. Yeah, with the bubble and just having some kind of like I think it just has to be like the easiest regulating practice ever right now. Like
yeah, and what I really wanted to do with you if we had time was just support your kidneys and adrenals. That's it, like 5 minutes each. So if that feels interesting, you can just place your attention there right now. I can send a little attention there. And we can do that for the rest of the call as we're bringing our awareness onto Emma in a moment. So,
thank you.
yeah, let's all take a few full breaths with Sophia. Thank you, Sophia. And as we create space for Emma, just anchoring into our intentions here together and whatever it is that supports us to be in our bodies and present, receiving Emma. Whenever you're ready, Emma.
Hi, everyone. So I'm feeling really calm. A bit of sort of stuff in the middle of my chest, but it's not very, yeah, it's quite light. And I just spent a week on my own doing a sort of self-made retreat, and I cried the whole time. So I feel like now I'm just reaping the fruits, enjoying a bit of chill. And I have a million things that I would love to bring, and I think I'd like to maybe just share one situation that is a bit tricky, which is that I did a small group program in December. I had 3 participants, and I plan to do it again in February, so starting next week. And I had 3 people sign up, and then one, or not sign up, but sort of say they were interested, and then one of them said, I'm still interested, but it's too expensive. I would love to join later on. And my experience with marketing has been hell. I have really not enjoyed sharing about my stuff and writing emails and posting on Instagram. I've really struggled with that for the first time I did it in December. I didn't know until the last minute if there would be anyone. And anyway, and so this time I really don't want to put myself through that again. So I've sent one email to 11 people about the program in February. And I started to prepare an Instagram post, and then I didn't send it. Anyway, then I did send it anyway. But just to say that I really don't want to. I really don't want to do that. And so my new strategy is to not have a business anymore, not do online anymore, and just to do in-person therapy or something. I'm not sure what that'll be for next calls, but so I know that there's obviously a part of me that's super terrified of what people are going to think, etc. But there's also a part of me that just doesn't want to put myself through. I mean, it's like, it feels like there's another sort of healthy-ish part that's like, yeah, we're just not going to do this. It's not okay. Maybe we're not ready. Maybe we just don't want to do online. Anyway, and so, but so now I feel a bit stupid. I mean, not stupid, but uncomfortable because I've got this course coming up. I've only got 2 people in it. I really don't want to market it, and I'm not sure whether I should force myself to sort of reach out to a few people again, send one more, post one more post, or if I can just let it be, do it for these 2 people, and then give some time to sort of feel what wants to grow differently. Yeah.
Yeah. How's it feel now, having shared that? What do you notice inside?
I feel a bit sad that I'm not in a place where I'm able to sort of caretake my baby program. And yeah.
And the sadness, is that because there's something you would love to have happen instead of what's happening?
I'm not sure. I don't have this sort of longing that tons of people would have signed up. I don't have this image in my mind that, oh, it would have been so great if more people had signed up. I would more have an image of, oh, if no one had signed up, I'd just be able to chill a bit more, and not have to sort of deal with it. But yeah, I think it just feels sad that it would be so difficult to share what I want to share, and so that it's such a struggle to sort of believe in the program. That it would be nice to just be able to help people and be useful and do something nice with all the things I've learned. And it just feels like it's not going to happen because either the medium or or my stuff is getting in the way. And yeah,
I'm feeling a lot happening in my heart as you're sharing, because I know what you're offering is so valuable and so meaningful. And I want all these people to know about what you're offering, so that it's just so easy to send an email and have your program full. And something that really struck me about what you just said is, and I don't know if we should be curious here, but you said my stuff getting in the way. And I was just curious, what stuff? What do you make of that?
So much stuff. So much, I mean, yeah, just a lot of the usual sort of self, nearly turning to self-hatred in some spaces, which is a new sort of new form, but that's how it feels, of just like self, your stuff is shit, my stuff, I mean, my stuff is shit, and you know what, that kind of stuff. And another thing that comes in the way is that I don't, so my course is on self-touch, and I don't self-touch. I mean, I just sort of self-touch like this, but I don't self-pleasure. I just sort of sit and feel my feelings and then cry. And so I feel like I've got really good at that. I'm getting good at that. But it feels like self-touch is really far away, and I'm sort of setting self-touch, and that's really difficult. Yeah.
Wow. I feel like you just hit the nail on the head. And I'm seeing a lot of this. I'd be curious what people's nods are. But I wonder if it's just like a little like, oh, I mean, you are brilliant. You are such an incredible coach. You have such a deep, deep, deep practice and spiritual practice. I wonder if it's just a matter of taking a little time to be offering what feels really aligned for you right now. And I wonder if it might be easier to send those emails or do the posts or however you're doing your outreach when you're not hating yourself because you aren't doing the thing, right? You have so much to offer. You're brilliant. It might just be a little tweak. What happens for you when I say that?
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like there is no form yet of what I would like to do. I feel like I need to do a trauma training and then be a trauma therapist, or not. I mean, but anyway, that I need to do some sort of extra training to be able to properly hold space for people. I feel like right now I have sort of some training and some sort of messy self-exploration, and I'm not too sure what that would look like if I was to offer something more related to what I'm actually practicing at the moment. But it would feel like a relief to not have to promote my self-touch program.
That is some really good information. And you knew right when I asked you, you had the answer. It was right there. You know, it's in you. And I'm loving the comments. I don't know if you are reading them, but it seems like it's just like the tiniest shift. I hear that there's a big shift that might want to happen, like trauma school or, therapy school. You might consider doing, like Tamsin just said, I would buy a self-touch course where we touched our faces and cried. Yes. Like just having your messaging, having your clarity around the things that are just so meaningful to you, and being able to offer just in bits until you really have the clarity around, okay, do you want to do those bigger things so that you can keep that momentum? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I could, I mean, that is basically my course. It's touching hands and face and feeling how uncomfortable that is. But yeah, I think that's a great sort of door to open of exploring what my messaging looked like if I maybe even sold the same course, but with the accent on feeling and being with, rather than becoming the expert of one's own pleasure kind of thing.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Beautiful. Is there anything else before we bring this to a close today that wants to be spoken?
No, this is great.
Yeah, what are you noticing now? What's happening there?
I'm excited to be meeting again every Monday and be able to sort of continue to explore all this and in this space. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And you know, there are people here, I think, that you could easily reach out to that can help with those little shifts in copy and messaging. So remember to lean into us too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's all take a few full breaths with Emma. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everyone, for your deep presence, your vulnerability and courage in showing up in this way for this experiment. It gives me life to be here with y'all, doing the work that you're doing internally and in the world. Before we end, I'd love to have our closing practice just be everyone taking a moment to feel into one thing that was impactful today that you'd like to take with you. And you can share that out loud. You can share it in the chat. You can hold it in your heart. Let's just take some breaths and feel into that. It could be something you witnessed. It could be something you experienced. Yeah. Seeing some typing. If you want to speak, you're welcome to turn your mic on. Roshni.
I think there were so many takeaways from me from today, but I was really touched by what Emma brought forth, and then your reflection on it, Shelby, and everyone's reflection, which is that, of course, that, you know, where you touch your face and cry is incredible. It just reminded me of how what the body needs is what the body needs and wants. And if that's, you know, touching our face, then that's beautiful and perfect. We don't need to go any further if the body doesn't want anything more. Just there's so much power in that.
Thank you, Roshni. Yeah, Sophia shared a wider regulation bubble. So honored to be here with y'all. For those of you that are continuing on, we start in a week. It's Monday today. We get to meet again on a Monday, for some folks Thursday. And for those of you that are not, we are connected in other ways. I'm so happy to be with y'all, and just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. And one thing, if you think about it, shoot me an email and let me know how you found this format where we're not all responding, because when we're doing consults in the next round, they'll be longer, and we'll do it, I think, just like this, where you can respond in the chat and you can respond upon request. But just let me know how that felt, and if you would like anything different. Collaboration is what I love. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we will see you soon.